All right, you are now tuned into the Rotated Views podcast. I am your host, Jimmylee Velez. I'm here with Gabe, Goose, Heck, and Drew. Comedy on the Crick. In this episode, we have special guest Drew Duck. We cover topics that range from stand-up comedy business, marketing, pivoting, entertainment, and much more. We wrap the episode up with quotes from Jack Handey and Suzy Kassem. Guys, if you're new, thank you for joining us. Don't forget to download and subscribe. We drop a new episode every Tuesday morning for your listening pleasure. Kicking things off, Drew, thank you for joining us, man. We appreciate it.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So let's jump right into it. So for those of us who do not know who you are and what you do, let us know.
I'm just a local guy. I grew up locally, actually on the Crick, Glen Hollow Apartments, right around the corner.
Classic.
Father of two beautiful daughters, Kayla and Gianna. My better half, Jessica, helps me run Comedy on the Crick, and we just try to make people laugh, have a good time.
I love it. All right, so take us back, right? So when you're, comedy. Let's just talk about comedy in general. Was that something you were always into? Did you have a favorite comedian? Did you watch DVDs back in the day or VHS?
Well, personally, now this is just me. I grew up on like Eddie Murphy Delirious, Eddie Murphy Raw, like those days, like when people didn't get offended, when you could just let it fly and it was just, you could laugh at it. But it wasn't me who even wanted to get it. I had no interest in getting into comedy. Me and my buddy had a podcast. And we wanted to find ways to get more publicity to the podcast. And he was a wannabe comedian. So we talked to a local bar, and this was in September 2020, so it was right in the middle of the pandemic. We started an open mic just outside of the bar on a sidewalk. Under a tent.
Wow.
Like their makeshift like parking lot to make the outside look like the inside, but it's really the outside. That's where we started. But yeah, it was literally just for, trying to get eyes on our podcast. And it
what was
just
the
went
result?
the opposite way. I'm a businessman, when I see, like, if I'm sitting here selling you something, then I bring in a new product and everyone's buying it, I'm not going to be like, oh, what about this one? I'm going to give you what you want.
Absolutely.
So it was like just instantly blew up. I mean, in the first, we outgrew the sidewalk. We needed to move to a bigger tent. In 4 weeks.
Wow.
In 4 short weeks, we were out of there. And like I said, we were just an open mic. No experience. Even though he was a wannabe comedian, he wasn't really like now that I know what I know, he wasn't like doing what comedians do.
Right.
He was like standing on the edge of the pool, dipping a toe in. He wasn't doing like, so we didn't know. There was a lot of things we didn't know about. And it was just like, after those 4 weeks there, we went to, I'm not going to give this guy any airtime or his place, but we went to a beautiful spot, like literally from our stage, you could throw a rock in the Crick.
Wow. Nice.
And that's where we came up with the name. I mean, I'm not going to brag, but it's where I came up with the name. Comedy on the Crick. And that's how it came about. We were like, literally, we were right on the Crick. It's the same Crick I grew up on, So that's how it came about, and that's how we came up with the name. Kind of, had to.
So what were you guys calling it when it was just used to? You're just like, come and check us out. Oh, what was the podcast?
The podcast.
That's
so right. It was the podcast name presents. Open mic at whatever bar.
Gotcha.
So in the beginning, it was just an open mic. That's all it was.
Now, was it just you and him all the time, or was it somebody else? Or
my better half, Jessica, if I don't mention her name, she's going to stab me. So she's always been involved, and she's always been very good with a lot of she's always done a lot of our graphics, a lot of our logo, our flyers, things that are very appealing to the eye.
She's got it.
Usually has her name on it. And she's always been involved, and she's always been, had her input. When we first started the open mic going, because we were the podcast just hosting an open mic, there was actually 3 of us. Jessica never gets on camera. Jessica, that's why she's not here with me sitting here. Jessica doesn't get on camera. But back then, there was 3 of us doing the podcast. One dropped off when we started with the open mic, and then he dropped off after a little while after the move to the venue on the Crick.
Yeah.
And then after that, it was just me and Jessica, and that's when things really took off.
Yeah. Oh, nice. So it did. Okay. So it was open mic podcast. X, Y, and Z presents this open mic night. Fast forward several months, and it just became Comedy on the Crick.
Yeah, it was like literally. It was
that bad.
Before you even could. The thing was, it was in the middle of the pandemic,
right?
But there was also a lot of people that wanted to get out.
Yeah.
There was also, especially all the comedians. Like I said, so our very first open mic, we had, I think, 4 or 5 people sign up.
Yeah.
We got to fill in a spot of like 2.5 hours because the way we set it up with them was they just pay us on a percentage on what was wrong while we were there doing our entertainment. Okay.
Yeah.
So while we were there, we got to cover 2.5 hours, and we got 4 guys that aren't experienced comics, so they're not doing, they're signing up to do 3 to 5 minutes.
Oh, man.
So me and him are like, well, looks like the rest of the time we're doing a live podcast. You guys ready? Buckle up. But it literally was just, social media could be, it's a double-edged sword. It's literally the gift and the curse.
Yeah.
It's great for networking. It's great for, stuff like that, because we knew nothing about it. Mm-hmm. I've always known if you grind, I'll outwork anyone.
Yeah.
Give me direction, put me what you want done, I'll outwork anyone.
Yeah.
So that's all I did. I went through social media. I joined every local comic Facebook page group. Anyone who I saw with a comedian or even a microphone in their profile picture, I'm messaging them.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, we got an open mic. Even to this day now, the reason, we're going to get into all that, but this isn't by accident.
Right.
Right. We just came from a local establishment where we got something to eat, and everywhere we go, I'm giving out flyers. I'm making sure they know I'm wearing the logo, I'm
absolutely.
carrying the brand everywhere.
Absolutely.
And I'm making sure I'm spreading the word as I'm doing it. So it's just like free advertisement. If you put a bumper sticker on someone's car, I'm my own free advertisement.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
I'm never afraid. Literally, the other day, we're On the Border. She put it on our social media. I'm I just get up after we're done walking around. My one buddy who hosts most of our comedy shows is like, look, you just interrupting people's dinners. You're not going to complain when the show sells out, though.
That's awesome. All right. So that's hilarious. So obviously the name is pretty self-explanatory, right? So you went from a tent to a very beautiful establishment or venue that was actually on the Crick, and then things didn't quite work out there, so you moved on. So explain that transition and maybe some of the challenges there.
Yeah, the pivots.
Yeah, the pivots. If you pivot, I professionally wrote here pivoting.
I literally, when I talked to Jessica about this before I came on, and I was like, the pivoting question, we could probably spend the whole episode on, for real. We started off as a podcast.
Sure.
A podcast hosting an open mic.
Which in itself is hilarious. Yeah. Just the concept so
just
funny.
From that turned into, okay, now we're a comedy show. Forget the podcast.
Yeah.
Forget we did that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we pivot, we're at a new place. Now, beautiful venue we were at on the Crick. Yeah. Beautiful venue. I don't discredit that at all. The right ownership, that place will, oh my God, that place could clean up in this area.
Absolutely.
Okay. Where we were, we weren't in the main restaurant bar area.
Okay.
We were the redheaded stepchildren down at the gutted house who passed for outside for COVID rules, but was basically inside because they took some Dexter thick clear shower sheets and stapled them to the part that was wide open to the Crick. That's how. And then they put in some patio heaters inside because there was no real heat in there. There was no running water. There was no bathrooms. So our guests had to trek through poorly lit shaky stairs.
Yeah.
Up through, and this is the winter. A lot of this was in the winter time.
Yeah.
So if it snowed, sometimes it was salted right, sometimes it wasn't. They had to go up to the main restaurant just to use the bathroom. And I mean, you're talking about, you've been to our show now.
Yeah.
Like you got to cover like 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
And you got to go to the bathroom, or if like back then, because we were at a bar, it was open bar.
Okay.
Draft beer was included.
Okay.
But even then. And one of the things we found out was like he was doing stuff to try to limit, because he was taking advantage of COVID rules.
Yeah.
You couldn't go up to the bar and ask for anything at the time.
Okay.
He came to me and said, I'm going to take dinner off of the ticket, but I'm going to keep the ticket price the same, and I'm going to keep our cut, my cut the same.
What in the world does that even make sense?
Crazy. Is that even close?
Ashton, come out. I'm being punked.
Yeah.
I turned so red.
I'm sure. Yeah.
And like one of those angry yells when spit's flying out your mouth. One of those angry yells.
Yeah.
And then it was literally never did another show there.
Wow.
That's
And we up and left. I mean, and when I tell you, we were not only putting on a great show, okay, we were putting on a damn good show.
Yeah.
But because of how everything was constructed, that was when we were making the most money. And I tell everyone that I talk to about this is, that tells you something, and either I'm smart business-wise, or in a couple of years you guys can tell me I'm stupid.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Because I could have sat there with this guy and been the rip-off comedy show that just pumps out cheap tickets.
Yep.
And it doesn't matter what kind of food, or
drinks,
if
or
you
whatever.
get mad that the server doesn't come around or any of that. Oh well, it's a cheap ticket. What do you expect?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Or I can make less money. I can do it right, and then I can create something that is going to give back tenfold.
Right.
In that time. I know. Listen, I told you, you don't have to ask many questions, because
No, it's good.
put a microphone in front of my face, I'll go. But so our pivot after that was we went through what I call white trash wedding venue hell.
Yeah.
We went to the first fire hall. And we didn't know anything about this. We never did comedy. Now we're running the whole operation ourselves.
Wow.
So we got a fire hall. We contracted a bar, caterer type bar service.
Yeah.
And then we contracted Blue Monkey.
Yeah.
For the food.
Okay.
So we've been with Blue Monkey from before.
Okay. Gotcha.
Wow.
So the good food has been there through the
good food.
Yeah.
The fantastic food.
Till the next day, we're still talking about the dang food.
About the food.
Yeah, good stuff.
And we knew, like I said, when you get the quality that matches what you're doing, that you want to attach your brand to,
absolutely,
you stick with it.
Absolutely.
So we went to the first fire hall. And we stepped out of our comfort zone. We've had a way that we've done things with these comedy shows that aren't like most comedy shows, that are different. We don't try, a lot of these clubs, I think with the comedy world, they try to book the biggest name out there, because then that gives them clout as a club. Sure. So then they try to take advantage of as many people that are lesser names, for little to no money.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. But with me, I've always looked at it as like from a business side.
Yeah.
If your name alone isn't selling more tickets than I can sell, then why am I paying you all this money and putting you on a pedestal?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so the first pivot, we went out of our comfort zone and went after a big name comic from recommendation from one of our it's so funny that it's that comedian, one of our comedian that hosted the show you guys were at. He's actually, his recommendation to bring on this big headliner that we had scheduled. We had him scheduled for a Wednesday show. That's when we could afford him to make it logistically make sense. So we were doing a Wednesday and a Saturday show that week.
Wow.
He cancels 24 hours before the show.
That's crazy.
We got to scramble, email everyone, book other comedians to fill in, and then, basically just offer, because there's a lot of people for them big names, they're there just for that name.
Yeah.
So we had to email every single person, okay, you can either get a full refund or we'll partially refund you X amount of dollars and we'll have a great comedy show for you.
Yeah.
Trust me, if you don't think it was a good time, I'll refund you your money at the end of the show.
Yeah.
Like, we had to do whatever we had to do.
Absolutely.
Just to get past that hurdle.
Yeah.
Another pivot. So then, the next day after that comedy show, I get a call from a state cop who's with the Liquor Control Board.
Yeah.
Come to find out, the place that we were at apparently didn't like us leaving abruptly and still having success.
Yeah.
So they called the Liquor Control Board on us.
Wow.
He asked me some questions. I told him, he asked about how the alcohol was handled. I said, we contracted a bar service for that.
Yeah.
Here's the name, here's their information. He's like, all right, I'm going to contact them. I'll call you back. He calls me back. He said, I just called that guy, and when I told him who I am, he hung up on me. I said, well, that sucks. I don't think that's a good sign. I said, so he asked me some questions, like how everything was run. So I said, look, this is how it is, blah, blah, blah. He said, well, you're not allowed, like, that guy is contracted to serve alcohol.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to include it in the ticket. You're not allowed to sell it, anything. All he can do is basically, if it's a BYOB and you have a bottle of wine, you can check it in with him and he can serve you throughout the night.
Understood.
That's it.
Okay.
He said, if I would have came there and this would have been going down, someone would have been leaving in handcuffs.
Jeez.
Oh, wow.
And this is, like I said, no experience. Like, we literally paid him to contract for a bar service. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
We didn't know. From our understanding, everything was done correctly.
Yeah.
Sure.
So then, right after, we just had to go through this big name comedian.
Yeah.
Canceling. Literally, that show was the day before I got this call. Then we had to pivot again and switch to BYOB.
Yeah.
So now we had to email all the Saturday customers, which that show was sold out. We had to email all of them and offer them money back and just tell them it's going to be BYOB or a full refund to just not want to come.
Yeah.
Then the good news piled on. I say things come in threes.
Yeah.
So then, right after that, the fire chief of the fire hall we were at got wind of the Liquor Control Board sniffing around, didn't like it, and said, we think it's best if we part ways immediately.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
So once again, we were we were homeless comedy on the Crick. Okay?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
We had to pivot again, went to another fire hall, White Trash Wedding Venue L. We still had the great food, and now the fire hall we were at was huge.
Yeah.
So we would never, we could fit as many people as we wanted.
Wow.
So at that time, we were actually separating dinner and comedy tickets or comedy only tickets.
Okay.
Because we just had so much space
Yeah.
that, like, the caterer needs to know the number, in a little bit, usually a week before.
Yeah. Understandably so.
To know, so he can prep for it.
Of course.
So we would put a certain number out, and then once those sold out, then it was just comedy only tickets
Got it.
available.
Okay.
At a discounted price.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was, but at that time, our prices were like $39.99 for comedy and dinner, or $20 for comedy only.
Gotcha.
That's awesome.
Perfect.
That place, to me, I know I want to stay on the pivot question, but just like some of the things that happen in these, I know I'm probably getting off course and getting to some questions that might be down the road.
No,
but,
that's all good.
just some of these, like with the place we were at, the fire hall we were at then, it just seems like you don't, for me, if someone's bringing 100 people a week into my establishment, or getting the fire hall we were at didn't even have a caterer in there.
Yeah.
They had nothing booked.
Yeah.
When we sat down with them, now granted, we had, we were homeless too.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
for sure,
So
for sure.
we were in the same boat, but it's like an understanding, okay, we're homeless, your calendar's empty, we can help each other here.
Right,
One hand washes the other,
absolutely.
both wash the face.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we just didn't seem to get that appreciation back for what we were doing for them.
Yeah.
So after, just like, put it this way, the Blue Monkey who does our food now wouldn't even use their kitchen because of how disgusting it was.
Oh, jeez.
Wow.
Okay?
That's
And it got to the point where I had to argue with them about just vacuuming the floor before the comedy show.
Yeah.
There's like, the big glitter pieces from some like, celebration or whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
Confetti.
I'm glad they sparkle. That's nice. But that doesn't mean I want like just stuff all over the floor because you don't want to clean it up.
Yeah.
So, and one thing like with me, I'm very, people say aggressive. I say upfront.
Yeah.
Like, you're never going to have to question.
Yeah.
Wonder if he really likes me or anything like that. Like, I'm going to tell you exactly how I feel. It'll never be a question.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm not going to do the fake, none of that.
Yeah.
So, and I guess because of that, it wasn't perceived well. And they kind of like, because I told them, like, I think you guys should appreciate, like, what we bring. Yeah. What we've brought already to your place. Like, we've filled your calendar. You got other parties booked at your shell of a fire hall. Yeah. Sure. And as dirty as whatever. But, like, I don't feel like it's, we're getting any type of appreciation because it got to the point where they're just like, we'll just drop chairs here, not vacuum anything. You set the tables up. Like, come on, what am I paying for?
Yeah.
So we had to pivot again. And at that point, it was just like, I didn't want to just go to the next place that would accept us because that's what we were doing. With the 2 fire halls. Yeah. I knew our destination of where we want to be to grow this isn't at a fire hall. And I knew that.
Sure.
And I was tired of just trying to go to the next place that'll take us and put a Band-Aid on it. So that's when we sat down, made a decision like, all right, this is done for now. Yeah. Unless we find someone to collaborate with to where it's what we want. We got to be on the same page because once you start going down that route, like I said, you're tarnishing your brand.
Yeah. But they say what you tolerate, you promote.
Yeah. It's exactly it.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, we're not the comedy show that's going to give you Dave Chappelle, Kevin Hart. We're the comedy show that you got to look at Comedy on the Crick as a name and just go, I trust Comedy on the Crick is going to put on a good damn show.
Absolutely.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Who's this guy? Who's that girl? Who's this? I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no clue who they were before I went there.
Yeah.
But it was a damn good time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's where, that's the brand what we're trying to build.
So where are you guys at now? Where do you guys sit now?
So now we partnered now with Blue Monkey Catering, who was doing our dinner. We're at his hall. It's a little smaller, so we're only getting about 60 people in per show.
Yeah. Okay.
But, as you guys have seen the shows, we just did our 9th show this past week, and we're sold out through May 20th.
Yes.
So
awesome.
Yeah, the first,
it's good stuff.
You're talking about the first, 15 shows. Most of them sold out 3 to 4 weeks in advance.
Yeah.
And that's unheard of.
Yeah.
Honestly, was with any of these clubs. You know what I mean? Like, we started this like something that not only just to have here in the suburbs, like you do in the city, but to compete with them. Yeah. Like, I'm not looking to just be like, well, if you can't make it to Philly, what? Do you never heard of Comedy on the Crick? Yeah. Like, no. Like, you don't got to do the Ubers, you don't got to do the parking, you don't got to do the paying $1 million for drinks.
That's exactly what all of our commentary was afterwards. Like, wait, first of all, we felt like we were in the city, but we didn't have to go anywhere. I was just telling him our house, neighborhood we currently live in is right down the street. That was like the biggest selling point for us just right off the bat. We've never been to a show. Yeah. Now, obviously, there's a bunch of selling points for us now because we've experienced Comedy on the Crick. Absolutely love it. Thought it was phenomenal. And then, the Blue Monkey Catering, that's outstanding. saying it. My mouth is watering thinking about it. Unreal.
It is amazing.
We actually
we took the menu home.
Oh man, he's great. I'm telling you, they're the best. And that's why, like I said, we're so happy. Yeah. Like we were off. We took off for 9 months. Yeah. Like literally. I wasn't coming back unless it was, something that we approved, like this is us. Yeah. And coming, like just knowing Chef Scott, he's an awesome dude. He's a great guy. But it's not just that the food's good. Yeah. It's that he has the same business mind as me and Jess. Yeah. It's like he knows, okay, sometimes I might not make as much money, but I'm always going to be known for the best quality. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
that's exactly it.
I challenge any one of you, any one of your listeners, look up anyone within an hour from our radius of Blue Monkey Catering Hall. There's no one within an hour, no comedy show that's going to give you that premium a dinner and that show for that price, because we've done it everywhere else. Your price is starting around $60 to $65 a person.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're $20 cheaper, and I guarantee you our food's better and our comics are better.
Yeah, hands down. I go.
So and I'm not just doing this as a commercial.
So in that whole the 9 months, what was one of your biggest, when you weren't doing shows, what was one of the biggest things you learned, I guess, whether it was about yourselves, whether it was about comedy on the Crick, what was going through your mind during that time? I know you're saying you weren't going to settle and you needed to find the right fit, but was there something you learned during that time? Because to me, just outside looking in, it's almost like a self-respect thing too. It's like, I'm not settling for just garbage, right? And so I give you guys props for that, for even being patient to pull back, because sometimes you got to take a step back to launch forward, right? Yeah. That's just a basic rule of success. I mean, so just give us, because 9 months is a decent amount of time. You can get in your own head too, right? Yeah. You could trip yourself up. Yeah. So explain that a little bit.
I will say this. Big shout out to Ocean Casino Resort, because we spent most of the summer there, and that was good at keeping the head away from all the other stuff. A little drink in the nice pool outside. But for real, like, it's all, for me, it all comes down to character. Yeah. I mean, I'm from this area. A lot of people in this area are that same way. Like we build something off of who we are. Mm-hmm. I'm a very big, respect guy, character guy, and I'm not going to, put up with BS. Yeah. And now, granted, that doesn't mean, okay, the first show that I partner with a venue and I don't like their food, okay, we're out of here.
Sure.
That's extreme.
Got to make sense. Right?
But when you have someone that you're, hitching your wagon to, and it's tarnishing your name, it's like you got to have a couple talks, and after that, you got to cut bait and go. Yeah. So for us, it wasn't like there wasn't so much of any finding ourselves or worrying about. It was literally like, I'm going to take some time. We're going to take some time off. Yeah. We're going to figure out like what place we could go to that will be good enough for us to be long term. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because it's not like. We've had opportunities. We had places reach out. We've had places that we've talked to. And a lot of them, it's just, like I said, they don't align with us. We don't want to put out anything but the best. Yeah. And I know I stress it. I know I say it a lot. And I know it sounds like a little, like used car salesman even sometimes. Yeah. But it's just the truth. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like we do this because we love seeing a crowd of people forget about all the everyday problems you have going on in your life. Yeah. Absolutely. And just sit back and laugh and have a good time. Yeah. As a group. Yeah. Where you don't got to worry about, let's get offended or splitting up by this or that. Like, no, let's just have a good time. Let's just laugh. Forget about everything. Right. Like, just let it be your escape for a little while. And that's why we thrive off of that. We love it.
So explain to us a little bit about how are you finding the comedians? I know briefly you said you're reaching out to folks. Was social media your way? Was it word of mouth, referrals? Were people saying, "Hey, I got a guy"?
Yeah. Well, it first started off, it was social media all the way.
Yeah.
It was me harassing people. Yeah. I'm still banned on the Facebook group. What's up in Levittown? I'm still banned. I got 3 accounts banned in that group. Because I'm a little over the top at times, but that's the thing. It's how we've in the short amount of time we've been doing this, 2 years.
Yeah.
So in the short amount of time, we've probably had, if I had to guess, 500 different comedians on our stage.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
That's
a good number.
because we used to do when. The first open mic, like I told you, had 4 people.
Yeah.
And that was the last.
Yeah.
Because the second one, there was 16, then it was 18, then we're in the 20s. And then when we went to the Crick place, we had to cap it. It couldn't be an open mic anymore. Gotcha. So now it was like a show.
Yeah.
So we never had a set number, because if it was someone good, we're screw it, put them on.
Yeah.
So, but it was between between that 15 to 20 comedians on every show, getting 3 to 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's just up, boom, the back. All right, next. And it was the one thing that we did learn, we learned a lot from comedians.
Yeah.
But I think the reason we've had so much success is because we've took a lot from comedians, but also put in a lot of business sense to it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
A lot of the smaller comedy shows or open mics and things like that, the crowd is mostly comedians. Okay, so now other comedians might laugh at your jokes, and they might think it's funny.
Yeah.
But when you're going on for a crowd of 50 to 100 people that aren't comedians and are just in those seats to have you make them laugh, you're going to know if something you're saying is funny or not. You know?
Absolutely.
That's the best way to find out.
Absolutely.
If if you could hear a pin drop, then it's not their fault.
No.
So, but it's just started off with social media, harassing people, constantly messaging comedians, and I still have that same type of grind today. I still message people, we still reach out to people. But on top of that, we also have people sending in stuff every single day. Every day. Wow. Every day we have new comedians sending us inquiring to get on the show.
Wow. And it's interesting too, because as a spectator or part of the audience, it is funny. You purchase a ticket, and there is that level of expectation, right? Look, I'm buying a ticket for a comedy show, hence I should be able to laugh, right? So there is a sense of expectation. I'm I'm going to get fed. I'm not going to lie to you. I never had Blue Monkey in the past. I wasn't there for necessarily the food. I didn't really care. I'm if it's good, it's good. If not, I really just want to come here and just forget about my worries, forget about my problems. I just want to laugh, hang out with my family. And, man, they just blew our socks off. And it was just first of all, the food, I'm going to keep talking about this, but the food was phenomenal. But outside of that, it was you guys made us feel welcomed as soon as we walked in. We felt like we're at home. I've never even been in that place before in my life, and it's literally right around the corner from my house. But I went there genuinely with an expectation to laugh. I did not think I was going to laugh that hard, but I was there somebody got to entertain me on some level, because this is all I got. I paid, and I basically promoted it to them. I was telling them went to, how it all started was I went to a little pizza place right around the corner, Salvatore's, and that's how I saw a little ad or something on the door. I was there by myself. I literally took a picture of it, hit it to the group text. Let's find a date. Boom, boom, boom. We found the date, and literally within an hour, we decided we're all going on this date. Boom, boom, boom.
That's awesome.
And that's how simple. And that's old school marketing. That's old school approach. It was we haven't been to a comedy show in a while. It just everything just lined up and made sense. But it's interesting hearing the creative end and the ownership side of things coming in on it too, because there's also a lot of pressure that you also have to put on a show.
It's the same way. It's interesting you hearing it. We love hearing these stories. The other side, where'd you see the fly? I wish we could harass people more that bought tickets. Because like they let you put questions at the end, and it seems like every couple weeks we want to add another question on. Like, okay, you saw it. Oh, you saw a flyer. Where'd you see it at? What were you, did you take a picture of it, or did you take an actual flyer? But yeah, I mean that's how we, like I said, that's how we, like, people always ask, like, they're so shocked, like, oh my God, how do you do this? How do you sell so many shows? Well, we stuck to our core principles. Yeah. Okay? Yeah. Our foundation has always been built on two things. Yeah. One, you treat the comedians right. Because you treat the comedians right and the good ones will come back. And then you'll put on a good show for your customers. Absolutely. Two, you give the customers the absolute best without lacking in quality, but also without pricing out the hard-working class.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
Because when you get it, there's like, don't get me wrong, I can be bougie. Yeah. Okay. Of course. So I can go out and do the nights in the city and drop a couple dimes, and I can do
absolutely.
But I also know that not everyone can. Absolutely. And those people, especially in our community, should be able to come out and have a damn good time and enjoy that food just as the next person.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And that's why, like I said, we weren't going to come back until it was where I could say this with confidence.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what we did. It was just like, I don't care if there's no more comedy on the Crick. We had a good run.
Yeah, there you go, for sure. Yeah. So at the end of the show, you guys handed out a little brief survey. It was like, vote on your favorite comedian. How did that idea come up? How did that even come up? And then how are you guys actually using it, the information, the feedback?
So how it came up was just us thinking of, how can we engage and get the audience, the crowd involved more? Yeah. Because that's what makes it fun.
Yeah, for sure.
For people coming as a guest at Comedy on the Crick, we want to know what makes it fun for them. We want to try to get, and what better way to get their feedback than telling us who they think was the funniest? Because now it matters who they thought was funny.
Yeah. Right.
Okay? So it had that sense in it. Yeah. Now, this actually started when we were at the second fire hall. When it started then, it was just, winner of the night gets $100. Yeah. Cash prize, real simple.
Okay, I see.
Now, one thing I will tell you. Yeah. Some comedians might not like what I have to say about it, but one thing that I've noticed coming into comedy that I didn't know about comedy is there's a lot. It's like high school a little bit. Yeah. There's a lot of. It's real cliquey. Yeah. There's certain cliques. It's like the city comics or those suburb comics. It's like some Grease type stuff. It's real weird and real catty. Yeah. So when we first started voting for the winner of the show, there was a big. Not a big amount, but a big voice, someone who was just real loud about it, and some others with them that thought it wasn't good or whatever. Yeah, that it should be split up amongst all the comedians because they're all there doing the show. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, if you suck, just say you suck. If I have confidence in myself, and you put any competition in front of me, I'm not going to be like, oh yeah, sure.
Because that's in addition to, right? Yeah, that's not what they're. That's in addition. Right. So you would think friendly competition. Yeah, well, exactly. I would think I'm a competitive person.
Exactly.
Let's do it.
Exactly. And not going to say, number one, we try to give back to the comedians as much as we can.
Absolutely.
If you talk to, that is another thing that's helped growing us as far as getting more comedians, is that spreads. Just like word of mouth spreads for the show with you guys, in the comedians world, they tell other comedians and talk about how we treat them good.
Yeah, for sure.
That spreads, and then we constantly have more people, inquiring to be on the show. So with the paying the $100, it was a way of us trying to give back to whoever was the funniest of the night, but also it was a way of us getting feedback from the audience.
Absolutely.
Because then we see, okay, this person had no votes at all. Yeah. Maybe we were right. That person, don't put him on for a while, or maybe, let him work on his craft, whatever. Yeah. But then it also besides just, giving back to the comics, besides getting the feedback, it also helped us, I guess, just like trying to think of a way to go on to like a building block to the next step. And that's where we're at now. Like I was trying to find a way to word it right. Yeah. But so where we're at with it now, and this is actually, I don't know if you guys even saw the video. We just released it last week on our social media. What we actually made up with that now is the winners of the first 25 shows back. Like I said, this week will be our 10th show. Okay. So the winners from the first 25 shows, we're bringing back to 5 different semifinal shows. Oh, nice. Those shows are going to be in September, October.
Battle of the Comics.
Okay? And then those 5 shows, we're going to get the winners from to create a championship show of those 5 comics. Wow. Nice. And the winner of that show is going to win $1,000.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome.
So
that's
cool. Yeah. Instead of just doing little by piece, it was just, let's do battle, battle of the Crick. Yeah. Who's the funniest?
That's awesome.
Absolutely. And it's a way, it's going to end before the holidays. Yeah. So we're giving we're putting $1,000 in some comedian's pocket right before the holidays.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah. So one thing I will say as part of the experience is and it's going to sound very basic, but the BYOB thing, right? There's so many times where, I know me and my wife are going out. I know we're going to a specific venue, whatever. Even if it's to the Phillies game or whatever. Sometimes it's something as basic as the offering just offered in light is not there, and it frustrates everyone. You're like, oh my gosh, I just drove an hour to get here, paid $40 for parking, $100+ for tickets, and you can't even have, which I'm about to pay $18 for, of the light version of Corona. You know what I'm saying? You're just like, this is crazy. Yeah. So you take that element out of it, so you're already happy because I made myself happy because I made the right choice of what me and my wife like, right? Yeah. And it's something so basic and simple, but I'm telling you, that stops an argument, that stops a headache. Yeah. It's a waste of money, to be honest with you, because now you're just buying something she doesn't want, and then you're bringing it back. Like, I don't want that. And I'm like, oh boy. But seriously, you're saving arguments, man. You're saving marriages, man.
I'll tell you what, my wife went home happy that night. She brought a bottle of something in. She drank the whole thing. I'm like, Jess, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Like to the point where I said, your comedian was outside and she was all over his props. And I'm like, Jess, what are you doing? Opening his props up, and he's like, I'm like, what is going on here, lady?
That's great. Yeah, I was at first, when like I said, this was one of our pivots, when we had to switch to BYOB. The choice was twofold. So it was either stop doing comedy or we're switching to BYOB. Yeah. I honestly was a little worried because I didn't want it to feel like BYOB cheapened the feel of what it was. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I feel like a BYOB, like people will just have them thoughts, like it just lessens the value of or whatever. Yeah. To me, it increases the value because you're saving a hell of a lot of money. Absolutely. Because that's where most of any of these places, that's where most of them make their money.
Absolutely.
So that's like being at the catering spot that you're at. Like when he showed us the flyer, it said BYOB. I was like, that makes sense. It's a catering place. They don't have their own like beer the taps and all this stuff. So it's like it makes sense to bring your own stuff. Keep yourself happy. Like he was saying, you can get what you want.
Yeah. And it's another way to save money.
Absolutely.
It's like I said, when you're comparing it to another night out anywhere else, it's like you cover all the bases for a fraction of the price.
Right. Yeah. So total spent, ticket, and you're bringing your own beer. You're not at the $100 mark at all. Yeah. Because if you're going out, that's where you're going. Yeah. The $100 mark with the ticket and buying, your alcohol out there.
Well, a lot of these clubs in the city, with the ticket, it's a 2-drink minimum. So you got to buy the ticket, but then also have to buy 2 drinks when you're there. You know, like that's how they get you. Yeah. So it's like I said, our way has always just been trying to give the best at the best, reasonable cost. Yeah, because it's like, and I say this sometimes. Sometimes I feel like it's a little too much. I've said it in some of the intros. I didn't say it in most of them. Jessica likes when I say it, but I don't sometimes. Yeah. But it's just like when I look at it is like us and Chef Scott at Blue Monkey.
Yeah.
When we talked about it, like we did talk about, like this is our way of giving back to the community.
Yeah,
absolutely. Is by keeping our prices low.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because when you're doing something like this, in the community that you could get more for, like if a show's selling out a month in advance, I can look at it from a businessman and say, oh yeah, we can get $5-10 extra a ticket.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But instead of just keep, until we're, we could just keep raising the prices till we're with everyone else, like 60, 65.
Yeah.
Instead, it's just like, no, let's just try to give them as much as we can for what we feel is like good enough for us.
Yeah.
Because we do that, it's a long, we're in here for the big picture.
For sure.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
And that's what it is. It's like,
Definitely
like, people can come and try to make a buck off you real quick. Mm-hmm. And that happens all the time. It never lasts in business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because just like if you go, if you, let's say you use a realtor and you found out a year later that you got ripped off or whatever, you're never going to use that person again.
Right. Yeah. Right.
You know what I mean? Like, just like you go to the, so many times, this is one that is directly affecting us positively right now. All right. So when we were on the Crick doing 100 people a week, we literally, I would announce, is there anyone here that's been to a show before? 100 people. You think some of them, I mean, you guys have been to our show. You think there'd be some repeats.
Yeah, absolutely.
Almost every time it was like crickets.
Wow.
And that's because these guys, they're throwing slop on a styrofoam plate and putting it in front of someone, coming around once an hour to refill a glass this big of beer, a solo cup. And you got to walk up a flight of dark, icy steps to go to the bathroom.
Right.
Like, no.
Yeah.
It's just, that's why.
So the hospitality was like amazing. So my family was already sitting down inside and I walk in. You greeted me. I don't know you from nothing. I was like, Jess, do I know him? I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I want to give him a hug. Like, what the hell? He needs a hug. Like, he welcomed me like this was his joint. And then you're going up there and the way you're talking and interacting with the people, I'm like, this dude is so chill. Like, he just wants everyone to be his friend and just
be happy.
Be there, be happy about everything. Like, nothing. Even the catering people, like with the food, with the switching up, like the trays, so smooth. They're all nice and polite. Excuse me, let me give you fresh food, and it was just going. I'm like, wow, this place is so welcoming, and that's what people want. They want to feel welcome.
I felt like I was at my boy's house. Yeah, seriously, like it was that. I felt that comfortable there. Awesome. Well, first of all, because it was literally walking distance from my house, so it could have been my boy's house, but still. All right, so let's switch things up a little bit for the entertainment value, right? And so, because this is hard, it's very tricky to nail this down. It's almost like a formula I feel like you have to have. How do you get the comedians? He's going to be like at the end of this, man, these guys trying to start their own comedy. Like, we're not.
So, what groups did you say you found the comedy from?
No, and you could speak in very general terms. It's just valuable because I find it fascinating.
It's the Rotated Views presents.
So there's going to be a comedy on the river. They're like, yo, that sounds so familiar. So getting the comedian. So let's speak about entertainment. When you're there, explain how a crowd or the audience can make or break a show, if that's possible. I don't know if that's possible. You tell me. And also maybe throw in there heckler, because that's kind of part.
Yeah.
And then how it's manageable if you see it kind of going, and the role of the host maybe to kind of move that along.
Okay. So
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So first, can a crowd maker? Now, if you say make or break, like if depending on what you mean by that, make or break in the sense of. Can they just ruin a show? No.
Yeah.
Because if you have comedians that are good enough, in the industry, they call it tight when a crowd is tight.
Yeah.
Like they're not opening up, they're not laughing much, or like, might be worried about laughing at some edgy stuff or whatever. Like they're tight.
Yeah.
But when you have good comedians and enough of them, it'll open them up.
Got it.
And that's kind of why we have it set up the way we do. Mm-hmm. I go in there, I kind of tell you our story.
Right.
Get you a little warm. You start pouring the drinks.
Yeah.
Feeling good inside. Okay, it's a local guy. They've been through some crap.
Yeah. It's relatable though.
Yeah, that's like it's just like okay, and that's what we try. We try like, and it's not like we're trying to sell you on it. You're already there. You already bought the ticket.
Absolutely.
We're just telling you about us.
Absolutely.
We're just telling you. We're trying to get to know. Like, listen, we're here to have a good time too.
Yeah.
I sit there. Me and her, we sit there every show, and we love what we do because we get to sit there and enjoy this show every week.
That's cool.
And it's awesome.
Yeah.
So the crowd can't, it can't really make or break. Now, can they affect? Definitely.
Gotcha.
When you have a crowd that's like real uptight or real, like.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, a lot of that you gotta give back to the comedians.
Yeah.
Like it has to be on them, and that's also with the heckler too. So if a heckler, a lot of times, and you'll even see if you start looking into different, stand-up comedians pages and stuff, a lot of them will post like that's the videos they like posting is interactions with the hecklers.
So the most famous one I remember is Bill Burr in Philly, and he destroyed the heckler.
Yeah. So. That's usually like the heckler first line of defense is the comic that's on stage.
Yeah.
If they don't get to him, then usually it's our host, whoever we have hosting the show, just, come up politely, little light tap. Hey, quiet down a little, please. Whatever. And it's not to be rude. Like, people should be able to talk, but you also have to understand everyone here purchased a ticket to see a comedy show.
Yeah,
not to hear your conversation about what happened at the, hairdresser or any of that other stuff.
Sure. Yeah.
Now, strategically, what we do is we try to get large groups in the front.
Okay.
Because that helps control them. And usually when people start going down that whirlwind of, when you get too drunk and you're that heckler.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay.
We were the largest group there, right? Because we filled up the front row.
Yeah.
That was us.
You guys were, I think we had like 3 parties of like 8 or 10 that show.
Yeah, we were up front.
Yeah, we put you guys right up front. But it's just, it's easier to control that way. And then also, like, I'm a pretty big dude. Yeah. So if I come up like, hey, can you just keep it down a little?
No, it's perfect.
It's usually pretty convincing.
It's enough.
Like,
enough
to just, okay. We've only, I'm proud to say, in the whole time we've been doing this, we've only had to kick out one person.
Wow. That's actually, that's better than I thought.
Now, hold on. This guy got it coming to him, okay?
Yeah.
It was when we were on the Crick, and this guy was so wrecked that our host, who came up and started the show, looked at him and was just like, oh man. We had to escort him out and like we just because it wasn't just alcohol.
You know what I mean? Like absolutely.
And like he was sitting right up front, like to where he could have, he could have went up and pulled a Will Smith.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So we just got him out of there, and that was the only person, thankfully.
So thus far, on this second stretch, what has been for you the most memorable experience so far? The last 9 shows.
The most memorable experience.
I think it'd be a combination.
I don't think it's like a single particular thing.
Yeah.
What I think is what I just touched on a little bit ago is that so many people have been back already since March 11th.
Wow.
Nice.
In that short time.
That's cool.
Almost, I think it's been 4 out of the last 5 weeks. We've had people tell us they were at a show previously.
Wow. That's dope.
And that's just from March 11th.
Yeah.
Like literally in that short span of time.
Yeah.
4 out of the last 5 weeks we've had repeats. And and a lot of the repeats aren't just like one person. It's like a group of 4, a group of 6.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like so that in itself tells me we're doing our jobs right.
Yeah. For sure.
That's the best way to be. The best way is by someone coming back. And I mean, you guys probably heard it when you were leaving at the end of every show. I tell everyone, we switch up comedians every week. Keep coming back. We appreciate you. Because that's how we do this. Like, you guys spread the word, keep coming back, and we're gonna keep doing our best to entertain you.
Yeah.
We'll always. I mean, now that you guys, it's usually people after they've been there, they see like they're going to do everything they can to make sure. We had one lady, she emailed us a laundry list. I can't have beans, cocoa, egg, this, that, bread, air. And she emailed like literally like midnight the night before the show. And I was like, lady, like I don't like you just emailed us like literally from the parking lot.
Yeah.
And it's not like this isn't a restaurant.
Yeah.
Like we don't have. It's not like we have something else we can just throw on. Like this is a catered event where they're cooking what's on the menu for 60 people.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's not like 60 people and a fillet of fish for Sally.
Yeah.
It's not what it is. It's not what it is.
Go to the Wendy's behind it.
So it was kind of like had that like, you know, she was like, oh well, we said like you just emailed us the night before. Still try to be polite, customer service. And she was like, oh well, my sister did like weeks ago. And long story short, I got to the point where I was just like, listen, lady, I guarantee you it's worth the money you're paying for the ticket. Yeah. So much so that if you, at the end of tomorrow, at the end of the show, if you don't feel you're satisfied for your money, I'll personally give you your money back. Yeah. Before you leave. Yeah. She came in, and I kind of busted her chops a little. Yeah. I picked on her a little in my intro. Yeah. And afterwards, she was so happy and was so elated and was like all we did was just put a salad together. Yeah. You know, like especially for her. Yeah. And it made her feel, I guess, like that. You know, that was something that was at least good enough and nice enough. Because we try, like with Blue Monkey, he tries to make everything on the menu to where at least some of the things are vegan friendly or this or that. Because there's all types. But you got to remember, for us to keep these prices down, we can't do all these special substitutes. Like this isn't the substitute. Like the one lady messaged us like, I'm allergic to soy, so whatever fish, swordfish is fine. Like, what do you? Yeah, it's fine. So is $75 for your ticket. That's fine. You know, people with these special requests too. I also think it's the duty of the audience member, or the ticket buyer. You got to be mindful of your own needs, right? And it's like you got to understand this is a business to run. This isn't like you're not going there just for the food. That's part of it. Yeah. I understand that, but you know, it's almost like eat before you come or something. I don't even know what else to say. It's you know what I mean?
It clearly states buffet style. Like it's food there. You're not placing an actual order. I think most people get that. You'll never put it past. Somebody's still gonna. Oh, I know, and that's what I mean. Like I tell people, like when you really, like if you really, because I'm a numbers guy. Yeah. I'm a huge numbers guy. Break stuff down. If it makes sense, great. Yeah. Do it. Yeah. If it don't make sense number wise, then you don't do it. Yeah. Simple. But numbers wise, when you look at it, most of these comedy shows around, decent ones at least, you know, you're paying around $25 for a ticket. Yeah. Even like no name, you know what I mean? Someone that you don't know nationally or, you know, anything like that. So in all actuality, like what, you're paying $20 to $25 for the food? Yeah. For that food, it's insanely, it's mind blowing. Yeah. Totally. Okay. But even if you're a vegan, you have you have the salad and the veggies, and you have free soda offered, desserts offered, whatever. Yeah. And if not, it's like, okay, well, I'm a vegan. Yeah. Guess I got to take this one on the chin and eat before I go or whatever. Yeah, exactly. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like you have to understand and I try to explain that nicely to people that do reach out. Of course. Because you never want to turn someone away because of your response or anything like that. Sure. But in the same sense, you want them to understand we have a business to run, and we're already not, trying to get rich off of you. Yeah. We're trying to give you the best deal we can. Yeah. So keep that in mind. Yeah, be mindful of all that. Yeah. So it's there's hurdles with everything, but. Yeah.
All right, so this is a question we ask all our guests. Is there a tip, or is there just explain to us how you manage, or how you and your wife manage the work-life experience? Like, how do you manage a comedy on a Crick, family life? You mentioned you have 2 daughters. How do you manage all that? Because it can get all over the place, right? Everyone's moving in a different direction.
It can get hectic.
Yeah.
We don't have a set schedule. Yeah. That we just like do this, do that. For the most part, because like with the comedy show, yes, it is. Right now once a week.
Yeah.
But the behind the scenes is 7 days a week.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, it could be like middle of the night. She could be responding to an email now while I'm doing this.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like it's 24/7.
Yeah.
But we make time when we do. Like if we do a little vacation or if we have family time, like the other day, just took, my little 5-year-old to the park and then took her out for a little chips and queso she loves.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, and then went bowling. And that time is family time.
Absolutely.
It's when I'm not, it's when you get the because Facebook's telling you response time. You got to respond, or you're gonna response time. You're gonna get a lower grade.
It's so funny.
Like for real, it's just like for me, it's very easy. Like I can disconnect and not think about it.
Yeah,
I can that phone. I can throw that phone in the toilet if I want to. You know what I mean, and be cool.
Yeah.
Her, on the other hand, she's a little. Gotta check it every couple minutes, make sure. See, that's where I knew about the response time. She's like, but if we don't get answers, we're not going to have a good response time. It's going to lower us from a 90 to an 81.
So maybe somebody in the audience, listening audience now is considering wanting to be a comedian, wants to, or maybe already is and wants to expand, that part of their career. What's general advice you have for anyone maybe getting started?
Don't do it.
Yeah.
No, honestly, if you're going to do it, don't do it dipping your toe in. Go all out.
Yeah.
Like, we know a lot of comedians, obviously. We speak to them. And a lot of them, even, like, it's amazing to me how hungry some of the real talent, like, there's guys that me and her sit back and talk, like, there's no doubt in my mind that this guy or this girl is going to make it big.
Yeah.
And we're like part of their journey right now.
For sure. Yeah. That's cool.
And it's awesome. But then there's also like other ones, and it's just like, how the hell have you been doing this long?
Right.
Well, what the hell? What do you think it's the crowd all the time? It's just not for your comedy? Because that's not the case, bub. Like I can tell you.
Yeah.
So I think the biggest advice is if I could give one piece of advice to an up and coming or someone starting out, a comedian, listen to the crowd, not other comics.
Yeah.
Because whether the crowd laughs or not, that's from a promoter or whatever you want to call us point of view.
Yeah.
That's what's going to keep my seats filled and keep my customers happy.
Absolutely.
And if they're not laughing, it's not because they didn't get your comedy or this. It's you are there being paid to make them laugh.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And that's it. It's a bottom line. Yeah. So it's not on you to just be like, this is my comedy, laugh at it.
Yeah.
No. Like, you gotta go. Everyone might not like how much I curse. So sometimes, like if I look and when I get the feel from the people while they're coming in and I get a feel of the crowd, some days I might tone it down a little.
Yeah.
Some days, if it's like I made a couple AARP sponsorship jokes the last show because there was a lot of old people. And luckily after I did the first one, they were cool with it. So I was like, okay, I can jab them a little, you know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
So, and you got to feel out the crowd. And like you said, some of them can be tight. So they might not like if you say, this vulgar word or that. Or,
for sure.
And some of them might eat it up and give it back.
Yeah.
But though that's what I mean. The good comedians, they know.
They understand.
And that's why, like, I don't want to give too many secrets away. But one of the things that we do that other people that run shows don't do is any bit of information I can give our comics that are coming on the show about the crowd that week.
Yeah.
I give them.
Yeah.
So if I know there's going to, Velez has a birthday party, they're up front in table 2.
Yeah.
it's this one's birthday or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like last show, so and so's 21st birthday. They're sitting at table, whatever.
Yeah,
because
it's helpful. Yeah.
Not only, or like a lot of the things is like our response to our marketing and a response to a lot of our advertising has been older.
Yeah.
Like 40s, 50s, 60s.
Yeah.
So take that into consideration.
Yeah.
Because I'm kind of trying to get you, I'm trying my best to set you up for success.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And you can either, take that to try to better yourself.
Yeah.
Or you can just be like, this is what I do.
Yeah.
You either like it or not, and it's that's fine.
Yeah.
But if once it doesn't work, don't be like, why aren't you guys calling me?
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
Why didn't they laugh last time?
We told you.
That's hilarious. But yeah, so I mean, one of the things we talked about before we started, we hit record was, for me anyway, going in on it. We do give, or I personally do give, the benefit of the doubt. Because listen, I'm not standing out in front of the crowd trying to make someone. I know that's hard. I've done. All of us here at least tempted public speaking, and you already know how difficult that is. Imagine trying to make the people laugh, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we give them the benefit of the doubt. It's like we want them to be successful because I want to laugh and I want to make sure that what I paid for, I got my money's worth too. So we're gonna give that one or two, even if it's not funny. But bro, we're saying earlier, it's like you keep coming with the dry, humor. You're just like, oh, bro, you're killing yourself. I don't even know what to say. So that is a mindset. I mean, me personally, I'm not going in there. We're not going in there we're trying to have a good time, right? And that's the point. So we're gonna help as much as we can as well. Because we want everyone to enjoy their time. And then you feel like when they get that laugh, they start loosening up. And, maybe some of them don't have necessarily the ability to read the crowd as sharply as others.
Yeah.
But I think it is that feedback it's kind of like it's reciprocal.
Yeah, and you have to take the thing is you have to take it seriously.
Yeah,
it can't always just be someone else's fault. Like I'm huge on accountability.
Yeah,
like
for
regardless of whatever aspect of your life. Take accountability.
Yeah,
and that's how you'll grow.
Absolutely,
regardless.
Absolutely.
So it's just like some of the comics that we talk to, or that aren't getting booked, or that seem to have problems with whatever.
Yeah.
There always seems to be that same problem. It's like you got to switch it up sometimes. You got to get out of your same circle, get out of your comfort zone, whatever it is.
Right.
Like you just hit on public speaking.
Yeah.
I've never been one to be for okay with public speaking. First time I was even thought about that whole podcast thing, that was my buddy's idea. He's been trying to find fame for a decade.
Yeah.
And literally, he was just like, "You want to do a podcast?" I was like, "What I got to do?" He's like, "You just gotta just sit with me and talk." I was like, "Well, I know I can do that." So, and literally went over his little apartment, and he's put his iPhone on record, and we just ripped off topics.
Yeah.
And just went on for an hour, and he was like, "I think we could do this."
Yeah. That's awesome. So is there any topics or any items you want to hit before we close out? And if not, how can folks best reach you all?
Well, the best way to reach us is any of our social media. ComedyOnTheCrick.com on our website. There's a lot of information on a beautiful website, thanks to Jessica. If you want to see future lineups, we have them with their headshots on it.
Oh, nice.
What dates they're doing.
Okay.
That's all on the website. May's menu is on the website, so you can see all the food that you're getting for that. We change the menu every month.
Okay.
So then, usually, a week before the next month, we'll put the new menu up.
Nice.
Besides that, social media, Facebook, Instagram are our two biggest. I think we're on I think we have a TikTok, but we just have it.
Yeah, it's just there.
just have it. We use it to make certain stories with certain songs and then put it on Instagram. That's about it.
All right, so there you have it, folks. Comedy on the Crick. We like to wrap things up with quotes, and the first one is by Jack Handey. Before you criticize someone, you should walk a mile in their shoes. That way, when you criticize them, you're a mile away from them and you have their shoes. The second one by Suzy Kassem. Comedy is a necessity to get through life with the fewest scars. Humor is the best antidote to help relieve all struggles. Comedy on the Crick. In this episode, we have special guest Drew Duck. We cover topics that range from stand-up comedy business, marketing, pivoting, entertainment, and much more. We wrap the episode up with quotes from Jack Handey and Suzy Kassem. Awesome. Guys, thanks again for joining us. The Rotated Views podcast was produced for self-development purposes. Huge shout out to our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by the Blessed Lifestyle brand. That is BL3SSED.com. Also sponsored by The Motivation Files Unleashed. This motivational mixtape will be your fuel for success. Available on all platforms. Guys, don't forget to visit the website, JimmyleeVelez.com. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Rotated Views. If you have any inquiries or questions, email us at info@JimmyleeVelez.com. On behalf of myself and the rest of the crew, we wish you massive success. Stay blessed.